Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm April, and if you're a parent, teacher, or anyone who works with kids, I've got a question for you. How many times this week have you said, "Stop that," or "cut it out" to a young child? Here's the thing. Those methods probably worked on us as kids, but they might actually be making behavior worse, not better. And today, I'm going to show you why, plus give you some game-changing alternatives that actually work. But first, if you're new here, I teach early childhood education, and I break down the latest research in child development so you don't have to dig through boring academic papers. Hit that subscribe button and let's dive in. All right, let's start with a story. Picture this. You're at Target because where else do parenting disasters happen? And a 4-year-old has a complete meltdown because mom said no to the $50 Paw Patrol toy. Most people around this mom are probably thinking one of two things. 1, she needs to discipline that child. 2, the poor kid is overwhelmed. These reactions represent two completely different philosophies about children and behavior, and which one you lean towards is going to shape the kind of human that child becomes. Traditional punishment focuses on stopping negative behavior through fear, shame, or consequences. It's reactive. We respond after the misbehavior has already happened. Guidance, on the other hand, focuses on teaching positive behaviors and supporting self-control. We set the child up for success before the problem occurs. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Punishment works. Children stop misbehaving when there's consequences. And you're not wrong. But here's the question. What kind of results are we actually getting? Let's talk about what punishment actually teaches kids. Spoiler alert, it's probably not what you think. First, punishment teaches children what not to do, but doesn't teach them what they should do instead. It's like having a GPS that tells you after you've made all the wrong turns that you've made wrong turns. Super frustrating, right? But here's the big issue, and this one might surprise you. Misbehavior is actually a sign that a child doesn't understand something yet. They're not tiny criminals plotting chaos in their cribs. They're human beings who are still learning how to be, well, humans, right? So here's where it gets really interesting. Punishment actually damages the relationship between the child and the adult. And here's why that happens. Children learn most effectively from adults when they have positive relationships with them. If a child is afraid of you, their brain literally can't access the learning centers effectively because they're stuck in their midbrain in that emotions section. So we're using a method that damages the very relationship that we need for teaching to work. It's like trying to teach someone to swim while also trying to drown them. Let's talk about what research tells us about punishment's side effects. And yes, every intervention has side effects, even the well-intentioned ones. Side effect number 1 of punishment, it's humiliating and it damages the child's self-esteem. When we shame children, we're essentially telling them that they're bad people and not that their behavior needs adjustment. Side effect number 2, it leaves children hurt and angry. Have you ever noticed how a kid who's been harshly punished often seems angrier afterwards? Most people will call that defiance. It's not defiance. That's a normal human response to feeling attacked. But here's the one that should really concern us. Children learn from adults. So when they learn punishment from adults, they use that method to solve problems with others. We're literally teaching them that when someone does something we don't like, the solution is to make them feel bad about it. And then there's what I call the immunity factor. Frequent punishment creates a cycle where you need ever-increasing force because children become immune to it. This is how we end up with teachers who've lost their voices by October because they've been yelling since August. The research is clear. Punishment might get short-term compliance, but it doesn't build the internal motivation and the self-regulation skills that children actually need. Okay, let's talk about everyone's favorite discipline tool, the timeout. Now, before you click away thinking I'm about to tell you that kids should run wild with no boundaries, hear me out. Traditional timeouts work, sort of. They stop the behavior in the moment, But let's examine what's really happening. We remove the child from the group to be alone for a determined amount of time, usually about a minute for every year they are old. And when time's up, they return to play. But here's the problem. That child leaves timeout without any new skills, and they may not even understand why they were in timeout in the first place. It's like being pulled over by a police officer who says, you did something wrong. Now you sit in your car for 5 minutes, and then he drives away without telling you what you did or how to do better for next time. How confusing that must be. Now let me introduce you to time in, and this might just change your whole approach. Time in gives the child a space where they can work on becoming regulated with an adult close by to help if it's needed. When the child feels regulated, the adult helps them think through what happened and how to respond next time. The child leaves with an actual new skill to try the next time the challenge occurs. So let's think of an example, right? Little Emma, she's kind of been biting a lot, and she bites another child. The timeout approach, Emma, biting is wrong. You go sit in the corner for 4 minutes. Emma sits there, probably thinking about how unfair everyone is, and then she returns to play with no new coping strategies. The time in approach, Emma, I saw you bite Jake. You look really frustrated. Let's go to our calm corner together and figure out what was happening. When you wanted Jake's truck and he said no, how did that make you feel? What could you try instead next time? Which Emma do you think is going to be more likely to handle frustration appropriately next time? Now, let's talk about one of the most powerful tools in your toolkit, natural consequences. This is where we let life do the teaching, and our job is just to help kids make the connections. Here's what this looks like. A child refuses to wear a coat outside. Instead of getting into a power struggle, you might say, I notice you chose not to wear your coat. How are you feeling out here? When they inevitably say they're cold, you can say, what do you think might help you feel warmer next time? The key is helping them see the connection without giving the I told you so. This attitude makes everyone want to roll their eyes when we kind of give that. So we want to lay off the I told you so and get to the, what can we do next time? Now, let's talk about setting limits, because structure is actually crucial for children's development. Here's what's interesting. Children will test limits. It's not because they're bad, it's because they're scientists gathering data about how the world works, and they're making decisions based on that data. The key is being consistent and offering choices within your boundaries. Instead of saying, stop throwing, try, I see you want to throw something. You can throw this soft ball over here, or you can squeeze this stress ball. Which would you like to try? And here's something that might challenge your thinking. We need to regularly reconsider our limits. Ask yourself, is this limit still appropriate for this child's developmental stage? Maybe they've grown out of it. Is there a real reason for this limit, or is it just how I've always done it? Or can I change the environment to eliminate this problem altogether? Those are key pieces to consider when you're thinking about the limits that you have for a child. Now, this is the part where the magic really happens. Teaching children to express their feelings, and no, this isn't about making children happy all the time. It's about helping them develop emotional intelligence. The process is simple but profound. Number one, you want to acknowledge the child's feelings. Validate them. I see you're really angry right now. Then you want to communicate the problem. You wanted the red crayon and Sam is using it. Next, you're going to target a solution. So what are some things we could try? And here's the crucial part. We're not trying to fix the feeling. Anger, disappointment, frustration, these are all natural human emotions. Our job isn't to eliminate them, but to help children learn healthy ways to experience them and express them. But here's the thing nobody talks about enough. You are always modeling. Always. Even when you think the kids aren't watching, actually, especially then. Give yourself a timeout if you need it. I don't necessarily love a timeout for children, but I love them for adults. I'm serious. If you feel yourself getting frustrated, it's perfectly appropriate to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. I need to take a moment to calm down so that I can help you better. This teaches children that adults have feelings too, and it's okay to recognize when you need a break. Self-regulation is a skill worth practicing, and we can model that for our children. Finally, asking for what you need, like time or a minute, that's appropriate. You want kids to handle conflict calmly, then they need to see you handle conflict calmly. Okay, now let's get practical. How does this actually look in real life? So if we have a toy grabber, and our old way might be, don't grab, that's not nice, you need to go sit down. So using the new way, I want you to try, I see you really want that toy that he's using right now. What are some things we could try while we wait? Let's try another one. Maybe there's a meltdown, right? You have said, stop crying, you're being ridiculous, right? The new way is, this feels really big and overwhelming. I'm going to stay right here with you until you're ready. How about an aggressive child, a hitter, right? This can be hard. The old way is, we don't hit, hitting is bad. The new way is, I can't let you hit because my job is to keep everyone safe. I see you're angry, let's figure out what you need. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. This approach is actually harder than traditional punishment. It requires you to think, you to be regulated, you to empathize, and you have to teach in the moment. But the payoff is children who are self-regulated, confident, and capable of making good decisions. So it's worth every bit of the effort. So here's my challenge for you. For the next week, try to catch yourself before you react with punishment. Instead, ask yourself, what is this child trying to communicate? What do they need to learn? How can I help them grow from this experience? Remember, misbehavior is information, not defiance. And relationship always comes first. A child who trusts you will learn from you. And keep your thinking long term. What kind of adult are you helping this child to become in the long run? If this video changed how you think about discipline, give it a thumbs up and share it with another parent or a teacher who you think might benefit. And if you want more evidence-based strategies, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Let me know in the comments below if you have any punishment methods you're ready to replace with guidance. I read every single one.